So in your industrial technology major project, you don't actually have to make everything yourself. So you don't have to make the music if you don't want to make the music. You can take pictures from outside if you want to do that. You can even take little sections of movies or animations or things and put them in there. You can use assets that already exist on the internet to put into your game. That's totally fine. You can get your teacher to do something specific for you if needed. But what you need to do is you need to put that into your outsourcing section. And then when you submit it to NESA, you need to sign a form that says what you didn't make yourself, and then the page on the portfolio where you've referenced that. So this outsourcing section is very important from like a legal perspective, and you need to keep this in mind, all right? So as an example, this student made a timber cockpit for his Star Wars film, but he was not able to make it because he's not a timber student. So technically he's not really allowed in the timber workshops. So he got a timber teacher to help him to make that. And by help him to make it, I mean he stood there telling the teacher what to do and the teacher made it. Okay, so there's quite a lot of that. Also, for his spaceship battle, he used some of the initial coding from the Unity Standard Assets pack. So the spaceship in it was the aircraft from the pack, and then everything was used, the coding was used, but all of the designs were changed. There were some standard plugins, there were some stock images that we used in the portfolio, there were some ship assets that he edited, some city environments that were edited, music and sound effects, all right? So what he's decided to do here is like, say why it was used first off, and then how it enhanced the project from doing it on your own. So this is what you really need to do. It's okay to use someone else's work, but you need to say why it made your project better as a result of doing it. So if you've, as an example, used a song that already existed, that's totally fine. But why is the project better as a result of you using that song as opposed to just going and writing your own work? So it could be that it saved you time. It could be that it was of higher quality that you could ever do. It could even just be that it wasn't what you were interested in doing. So we've got a student this year in year 12 who wants to make a virtual reality racing game. So he's interested in the virtual reality part of it, and he's interested in modifying a car to make it look more like a certain type of racing. It would be a waste of time for him to draw the entire car on a 3D program from scratch. It would take all year to do, and that's not what he's interested in doing in his project. What he's interested in doing is modifying that car and then putting it into a VR environment, which is a hard enough project on its own. In outsourcing, he would include a model of that car, why he used it, and how it made his project more professional. So he used it because it was going to save him time, it wasn't what he wanted to focus on, and it enhanced his project by giving him the time he needed to spend on other parts of it. With this one, we talk about the music, so this is about K-pop, and the character designs. So the character designs needed to be existing characters, but the student did draw them. So it's also really important when you're doing outsourcing to talk about how you've edited the things that you've put in, if you have edited them. So if you've taken a song but you've cut it down in certain parts, then talk about how you cut it and remixed it. This student needed to use a lot of stock image because it was a historical video. So you look through here and you can see the outsourcing of certain screenshots and stock footage and music and things of that nature, images that were copyrighted, stock footage, things like that. With this person, we've got some sound. So the only thing that they used was some sound effects, and they used a map that they sourced as a stock image, and they used an expression that they didn't write themselves, okay? And then finally on this one, when we look at outsourcing, we look at the sound effects and the music. So sound effects, music, there were some props, and they used some actors as well, okay? Maybe a few After Effects plugins as well. So they used Red Giant, which was for particular effects, so they didn't have to design the particles themselves. Okay, so it's very important from a legal perspective that you put these in here, just because you sign a statutory declaration that the project is entirely your own, so that's a legal document, except for the parts that you directly reference in this section. So you don't want to get caught or found out not referencing them, because that can be very problematic, but as long as you follow this guide, you should be able to do really well. Thanks.